Recording in progress.
This meeting of the Caldwell County Board of Education is called to order. This is our annual budget session, and we're happy that you're able to be here with us and hope that you have had a good summer to this point, and that the rest of the summer will be an opportunity for you to enjoy some rest and relaxation. Our Camp Caldwell has been going on and will end Friday. And so those people that have been involved with that will have the rest of the summer, all of July, and certainly a good portion of August before the students start back. First item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. Do I hear a motion that we approve the agenda as presented?
Chairman, can I approve the agenda as has been presented?
Is there a second? Second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Next on the agenda is our finance officer, Chief Financial Officer, Mr. David Johnson.
Guys, thank you for your time today. This allows me to, this meeting helps me get final preparations done for our budget amendments and everything. A lot of times DPI doesn't send our final allotments out until yesterday, and you'll see when we go through these amendments that was some of the case on these. And this special meeting gives us the opportunity to clear these up. I have a handful of budget amendments, one for every fund that we've got. First one I'm going to start with budget amendment number 20 is for the state public school fund. It is in the amount of $1,854,188. It includes additional funding for additional appropriations for Indian gaming and guaranteed allotments. Guaranteed allotments, PRCs 9, 11, and 28. DPI does not give us an actual budget for, but we do have expenditures in those that we, at the end of the year, we have to budget for. Generally, I don't include those in my initial budget because I don't know what they are. And number two, it kind of conflicts with my reporting. So I generally make that as an amendment on the last meeting. Budget amendment number 21 is for the current expense fund. It's just a transfer between purpose function only. There is no increase to the budget in current expense. Like I said, it's a transfer for between the purpose function codes only. Budget amendment number 22 is for the federal grant fund. Yesterday evening late, we received an allotment revision for $82,747 for PRC 60, which is IDEA. That one is one of the ones that I mentioned that kind of came in late. Budget amendment number 23 is for the capital outlay fund. So in the capital outlay fund, we have to, this includes budget for our financial statements. We have to include revenues and expenses that are separate and above from what we pay here. So if the county pays something for Granite Falls Middle School, or if DPI gives us buses, we have to include that in our capital outlay budget as for our financial reporting. And that's what that amendment does. That covers anything that was paid by us, but it also covers things that were paid for by outside agencies that they view that kind of as in-kind for our financials. Budget amendment number 24 is for the child nutrition fund. It is an increase in $200,000. It's for additional appropriations for the USDA grants. We did realize some additional revenues that were not in our original budget. Budget amendment number 25 is for the wraparound budget. There is no change in the total budget. It is just a transfer between purpose function codes. And budget amendment number 26 is for the special grant fund. We received, as part of CARES funding, we received some grants. They were called outdoor grants, and I think they were called GO grants as well. This includes the additional revenue received from those and some other changes as requested by the program directors. Mr. Chairman, board members, and Dr. Phipps, if the recommended, is my recommendation that the budget amendments be approved as submitted, bring the total budget for Caldwell County Schools this year to $195,223,296.67. I will make a couple of disclaimers. This year's budget includes $3 million more in state funds that are specific to CRF coronavirus relief funds. It also includes approximately $600,000 in federal CARES funding, approximately $400,000 in GEAR funding, that's the Governor's Emergency Education Relief Fund, and approximately $30 million in ESSER funds. Even though these are budgeted in this year's budget, we'll spend those down, most of those over a 3-year period. That's close to $35 million and about 21 or 22 additional program report codes that we've tracked and accounted for, and hopefully each one of those have their specific budget and expenditure requirements.
Okay, do I hear a motion that we approve budget amendment number 20, State Public School Fund, budget 21, budget amendment 21, Current Expense Fund, budget amendment 22, Federal Grant Fund, budget amendment 23, Capital Outlay Fund, budget amendment 24, Child Nutrition Fund, budget amendment 25, Wraparound Fund, and budget amendment 26, Special Grant Fund. Is there a motion that we approve those as presented by Mr. Johnson?
I move that we approve budget amendments 20 through 26 as presented by Dave Johnson.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right. Any comments or questions? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? And motion passes.
Okay. And the last thing I have is the interim budget. General Statute 115C 434 requires that we adopt an interim budget anytime the state may delay a budget past July 1. This will allow us to make reasonable expenditures as long as they don't exceed the appropriations in last year's budget.
Okay, do I hear a motion that we approve the interim budget for 2021-2022?
Chairman Miller, I make a motion to approve the interim budget for 2021-2022.
Is there a second? Any comments or questions? So once the state gets their budget, then that would.
As usual, once the state adopts the budget and we get the complete budget built, I'll bring the final budget resolution. It's been August in the past, and it's been as late as December in the past.
Okay.
Just depending on when they get everything finalized.
All right. Any comments or questions? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing no opposition, it is approved.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. We appreciate all your hard work on that. Next, Dr. Jeff Church, Associate Superintendent.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Dr. Phipps. I have 2 items for approval. The first is a 2021 Synovia contract with the addendum of Here Comes the Bus. And what's exciting about this contract, Jay's worked hard with it, but when it becomes fully functional, parents will have a free app that they can download to their phone and be able to see in real time where their bus is and where their child is on the bus. And also, it will update the the data service from 3G to 4G on our buses as well, so that will increase some speed there. So this is a good contract for approval. I respectfully recommend approval as presented.
You'll hear a motion that we approve the Synovia contract with the addendum of Here Comes the Bus.
I'll make the motion to approve contract.
Okay, is there a second?
Second motion.
Okay, anybody have a question, comment?
I think this is fabulous.
Yeah, it is exciting. Yes.
Yeah.
I'd rather than have it not go,
Exactly.
So I think I read something in that contract, and I may have misunderstood. Will the child have a identification, like they check in on the bus? Did I read that?
I have to let Jay answer the particulars.
So they there's two ways you can do it. There's a tablet going to be mounted on the bus. A driver can manually load a student on that bus if that student's on the route. But the district also can purchase cards. It's a card reader goes on each bus. Now, the thing that I'm working on now is some schools have identification cards that they use. I want that to be the same QR reader as the schools would have, and that way it would be all one system. That's what I'm trying to get them to nail down now. That it would be like Hudson Middle uses, their students have IDs, that same ID, it would read it as they get on the bus. They can also have it on their phone to where it'll read their phone, because they're more apt to not lose their phone than an ID card.
So that is not going to be at this point. I mean, it's an available feature.
It is. We have that option. We got to look into, we haven't nailed all those specifics down with the company. That's another outside agency that you get the cards from. We're getting the readers in our contract. We get the readers. Yeah, we have the readers.
So if a child loses the card, then there's no way for the parent to know for sure that their child.
No. We can manually put them on the bus.
Okay.
A bus driver can say if I stay overnight at Dr. Church's house and I don't have my card, I get on that bus. I'm a guest on that bus because I am a student. It'll let that parent know that, hey, my child didn't make it to school. They stayed over at Dr. Church's house and he's gone.
Okay.
It should reduce our radio traffic and phone calls to the school by over 40%. Have you been there yet? Are you close? Where are you at? It should reduce it by over 40%. It probably won't be, we'll do pilot system, maybe by the spring semester, have it up and rolling where we can fully implement it in the following school year. But I'm hopeful that everything will be online and ready to go by the spring semester. It's a huge undertaking, but we need to move to that direction.
Well, obviously, it'll be quite good when it's fully implemented.
It will.
Any other questions, comments?
I have a question. Mr. McCary, at the same point, if a small child had gone to sleep on the bus and did not get off, we would know the same thing.
We would know the same thing because that driver actually has to dump that out when he or she gets to the school. They would know.
Okay, because that's one that we all who had small children worry about. So thank you for clarifying that. I agree with Mrs. Branch. This is a fabulous thing for the safety of children.
Any other comments or questions? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? And motion passes.
Thank you. I'm requesting an attendance waiver for athletic eligibility for fall sports of 2021. The board approved last year due to all the COVID issues that we had to waive attendance requirements for athletic participation. And athletic participation based on attendance, it follows this prior semester. So fall 2021 attendance is based on spring 2021 attendance, and we were still in the throes of COVID. So this waiver is asking permission to waive attendance requirements for athletic participation until the second semester of this upcoming school year. So I'll respectfully request approval as presented.
I hear a motion that we approve the attendance waiver for athletic eligibility for fall sports 2021, or should we say until second semester?
Until second semester, yes, sir.
Is there a motion?
I move that we approve the attendance waiver for athletic eligibility for first semester.
Is there a second?
Second motion.
Any comments or questions?
I want to make a clarifying statement and make sure, that I'm understanding right in any public that's hearing this. This does not mean, it means attendance to their domicile school. Like,
Correct.
if you're a student enrolled in whichever traditional high school, you still have to play there. It's just the attendance for the
The
prior
attendance
semester.
requirement.
It
You can't
doesn't
miss-
allow moving around in schools and.
Correct.
Okay.
You can't miss more than 13 and a half days the prior semester. And so this would waive that beginning the first semester. It says fall sports, but it should be the fall semester instead of fall sports, because we do get into wintertime sports. Basketball picks up in November, and that attendance would be based on this spring as well. So let me modify that to fall semester, not just fall sports.
So basketball, which covers both fall,
Yes.
winter, and, well, generally not into spring, but those students would have the
They would
waiver as
fall
well.
under the waiver as well, and wrestling.
So any sport that begins prior to the second semester
Correct.
does not include fast pitch, softball, or baseball, track that are generally fall, spring sports.
Correct, but it would in the middle school, because softball's played in middle school in the fall.
Right.
So instead of sports specific, we just the sports that are in the fall, that start in the first semester, excuse me.
Any other comments or questions? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Dr. Church. Next item on the agenda is closed session. I hear a motion that we'll go into closed session.
Chairman Hill, I move that the board convene to closed session pursuant to the statutes listed on the current agenda.
Is there a second?
Second motion.
Okay. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes, and we'll be in closed session up to for a short period of time. We'll be back. There should be some action once we come back.
Recording stopped.
The agenda is the superintendent contract extension.
Recording in progress.
Recently, we did an evaluation of superintendent. The board was obviously, if you remember, we were extremely happy with the job that Dr. Phipps has done. His outstanding leadership has been especially true in this pandemic year. And so the wishes, or I need a motion to extend the superintendent's contract from June 30, 2023 to June 30, 2025. Do I hear a motion to that effect?
Chairman Kimball, I move that we extend our superintendent's contract from June 2023 to June 2025.
June 30.
June 30, thank you.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any comments? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Dr. Phipps?
I have a couple of recommendations here with positions that I'm excited about. And we're trying to put our leadership team together, and these individuals are going to help us move in that direction. So I have some recommendations here for 2-year contracts effective July 1, 2021 for assistant principal positions. These are all 2-year contracts effective on that July 1 date. That's not the actual date that they'll start working and be in place, but this is when the contract goes into effect. And I'd like to just say the names and the assignments that we have. Matthew Ross at Hudson Elementary School, Amy Brawley at West Caldwell High School, Braylee Spiegel at South Caldwell High School, and Celine Ellison at William Lenore Middle School. So these would be individuals that would be brand new into their roles. They would receive 2-year assistant principal contracts and would respectfully request approval for that.
Okay, do I hear a motion that we approve these four? Matthew Ross to Hudson Elementary School, Celine Ellison to William Lenore Middle School, Braylee Spiegel to South Caldwell High School, and Amy Brawley to West Caldwell High School. And each of those a 2-year term beginning July 1, 2021. Is there a motion?
I move that we approve the 4 assistant principal recommendations as presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you. Just under the heading of school administration, I want to let you know that Kelly Smith will also be making a move as a transfer. She already has a contract that does not require a board vote, but she would be at an AP at an assistant principal at West Caldwell High School. So we're excited to have her in that role, and this would have our team fully completed, and we look forward to getting the school year started. For item B in my area under associate assistant superintendents, contracts and extensions, there are 2 things I want to accomplish, but if we could do them with one motion, I think it would be good. The first is reference to David Johnson. As you all know, that he has the title of Chief Financial Officer, and I'd like to recommend that we change his title to Assistant Superintendent for Fiscal Management. And this encompasses the work that he does, and the way the contract would be written includes the Chief Financial Officer pieces, but would like to do this on a 2-year contract as we've always done when we bring folks in. So that would be an Assistant Superintendent contract for David Johnson. And then for our remaining assistant or associate superintendents, Dr. Church is an associate superintendent, Bill Griffin and Katrina McKellen, assistant superintendents. I'd like to ask that we extend their contracts so that they're on the same term as my contract, which will be June the 30th of 2025. That essentially will be 4-year contracts for those 3, and then a brand new 2-year contract for David Johnson.
Okay, do I hear a motion that we approve the assistant and associate superintendent contracts and contract extensions as presented by Dr. Phipps, as well as the 2-year contract for Mr. David Johnson to be assistant superintendent for fiscal management? Is there a motion?
I make a motion, we approve the items that have been presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? And motion passes.
Thank you, congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Very much. We appreciate the job that the team does. It's been a terrible year in regards to a lot of things that had to be dealt with, and y'all have done a absolutely outstanding job, and we appreciate that. And of course, Dr. Phipps, who has led the team, has been superb in his leadership. Next, I'd like to recognize Assistant Superintendent Dr. Bill Griffin.
John Pennell, Vice Chair, Branch, members of the board, Dr. Phipps. I have one item for you this afternoon. It's dealing with contracts, just a couple there. I'd like to make a motion, respectfully request a motion to approve human resources usual and customary action items contracts as presented this afternoon.
Do I hear a motion that we approve the human resource services usual and customary action items as it relates to contracts as presented by Dr. Griffin?
I move that we approve the administrative recommendations.
Is there a second? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Griffin. Appreciate it. Any other items, sir?
We need to make a note in the minutes that you recused yourself from the vote.
I'm sorry, I had that checked right here and
Do I need to say it
No.
out loud that I
No.
recuse myself?
We'll capture that in the minutes.
Thank you.
You mentioned meals delivered that have meal distribution pickup tonight.
yes, today being Wednesday is meal distribution day, and that's going to be, well, first session's already over with. The afternoon session starts at 3 o'clock, 3:30, and goes to 5:30. And if I'm not badly mistaken, I believe the West Caldwell delivery this week is going to be at High Ride.
4th of July.
Matt?
4th of July.
4th of July week.
Okay, I was there last week and they were telling everybody. But anyway, those meals will be this afternoon from 3:30 to 5:30.
So,
And,
will there be meal distributions needed July 14th? Yes.
yes,
High Ride High School,
High Ride.
only at High Ride. I think that's important information.
okay. I know they mentioned that to several people that came through, and that is probably what they meant, that it was going to be just on the 4th of July week that it would be delivered at High Ride High School instead of
We'll make sure that we're.
where I was at last. Any,
That makes sense.
that's right. Yeah, it's for any person that has a child, in Canada.
Birthday.
Birthday.
And they don't have to be in our school
Yeah,
system.
anyone.
That's what I was telling somebody that last week. I was like, that because they didn't have children in school. I said, it's eligible for anyone.
Okay, sure.
At the last meeting, I asked you what percentage of some sheds were Holland Connect.
And it ended up being a very small percentage, and let me see if that was sent to me, It's not as large, but it was certainly a.
Girls are gonna talk about dollar per imagination over.
Go
While
ahead.
she's looking that up.
All right.
If any of you in the audience have young children, birth to age 5. They can be receiving a book in the mail every single month until their 5th birthday by signing up for Dolly Parton's Imagination Library at caldwellcountysmartstart.org or at imaginationlibrary.com.
Very good. And I'm sure Mrs. Brown's gonna get the clarification out there about the meals. We're gonna make sure that everybody knows what those changes are, but it is obviously next week that those deliveries will be at Highbrighton High School. Today, delivery should be as they have been.
Yeah, we've already been sending that information, just getting people prepared.
Okay,
So
misunderstood what they were saying last week.
I'll get it to you.
It's 11 to 2 at Highbrighton High School during the 4th of July week.
Okay, just the one time,
On July the 7th, just that one time.
on July the 7th, there will be delivery of meals just that one time from 11
To
to
2
2.
at
So
Highbrighton High School.
Be an extra hour's time there. Instead of a 2-hour segment, there'll be a 3-hour segment, and there'll be no late afternoon delivery. So that is July 7th, Highbrighton High School.
So we've already been putting that out, and we'll continue to do that.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Do I hear a motion we adjourn?
I'll make a motion we adjourn.
Do I hear a second? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? We are adjourned. Everybody.